Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com.
Computing outside, Classic Empire, head-to-head, down to the line. Cloud Computing wins the Preakness.
Reach the starting gate, it's post time. Cold front, Pedro comes forward. And they're into the stretch, cold front, put to the 10. Cold front does it again. Right in the field of the Amsterdam.
Buongiorno, everybody. Saratoga Today, Past the Wire, John Stetton. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Day 27 of the 2021 meet, and might have been Saratoga Today yesterday, but it was Vegas for us. 1-for-1 came through. Never thought that horse was going to come back on the rail and beat Danny Gargan's horse like that. Thought we were... the ship was sunk, so to speak, but that's just, goes to show in racing, you never know. Sometimes you think it's over, and it ain't over till it's over, like Yogi said many years ago. The good news is, I think the rain is going to clear off this morning. I think we're going to have a nice day for Alabama Day tomorrow. Already started looking at that card. Looks promising. Started looking at the Pacific Classic card as well. That's a really, really interesting card over on the West Coast at Del Mar. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that on tomorrow's show as well, and we'll make it Saratoga today and Del Mar tonight. We'll see how that goes. Don't hold me to it if tomorrow's show runs long. I don't want to take up too much of anyone's time. Shout outs, Spendthrift Farm, and we're still, sad and in mourning over Wayne Hughes passing. What can you say? Just a sad day and a sad time around Spendthrift Farm. Like I said yesterday, we all hope that his legacy lives on through his family, loved ones, friends, and of course, Spendthrift Farm, which he is the one behind it, and all the success that they have had. Amwager, our friends at Amwager, super innovative ADW that I encourage everybody to check out. They've got everything that everyone else has to offer, and a little bit more in the way of tools for the better, and a very state-of-the-art platform. And of course, our friends at Zilla Racing Stables, who have been making noise one way or the other at Saratoga all meet long, be it the sales, be it on the racetrack. And they've got one in today in the 6th race, which we note is the only race today that's going to be on the turf. They left the 6th race on, which is an allowance non-winner at 2, but they took the 5.5 furlong Skidmore Stakes 2-year-old race off. I don't know why. I don't know the logic of that. I would have thought that they would have left the stake on the turf and took the other race off. The allowance race had 2 main track onlys. The stake had 3. I don't know if that came into play. I don't know if there's somebody in the 6th race that pulls a little weight and said, hey, we need to keep this one on the turf. I don't know. But it is what it is. The 6th race is on the grass. The rest of the races are off the turf. My computer brain over here, which I ask questions to and it answers, who would have ever thought that years ago, but tells me that likely chance of showers at the spa between 9 and 10 this morning, then clearing off for the rest of the day. Damage has been done, though. There's a lot of water hit the track and the turf over the last couple of days, but should be dried out. Now today, how's the track going to play? Mystery. Have to wait and see. Drying out track, heavy, cuppy. stay tuned. That you have to watch. Anybody can tell you now how the track is going to be this afternoon is a magician, and I'm not a magician. Even if you're there, even if I was there watching, as the sun comes in and they keep running over it, things change. So keep that in mind. You're going to need to watch when the races start and they start running races over it and seeing if they add water to it, if they harrow it, what they do, and get a gauge on how it's going to play and whether or not it's going to be honest or there's going to be any type of meaningful, or as we say at Past the Wire, true bias on the racetrack like there had been the last couple of days. Back to Zilla. They've got one in that sixth race on the turf. Wide draw for Here Comes Jackie with Dylan Davis up. We're always rooting for Zilla. And, one thing about Zilla and specifically Orlando Noda, who trains this one for them, he moves horses way up, way down. He's not afraid to really march to the beat of his own drum. And, this horse is moving significantly up into what I think are deep, deep, deep waters. But they've done it before, so we'll be rooting for them. That race, theoretically, could be a stake race. Cat's Pajamas is in there, who we liked and I bet last time out and talked about on the show, who I wasn't wild about the trip. I think that with an outside trip, she could have won that day. She was a big price on the morning line, took a lot of money, I believe, but didn't get done, got nailed late. That's when we were on that rough streak of trips and just coming up a little short, and seconditis, which nobody likes, but unless you're a place better, but I'm not. I haven't bet place, and I can't even remember 20, 30 years, and maybe only once or twice in my entire wagering career. Just not a place better. I bet to win. And, but even Cat's Pajamas comes back in what I think is a much tougher spot than last time. I mean, between Flighty Lady, La Dragon T, and Chad Brown's other horse, Capital Structure, those three are, in my opinion, clearly graded stakes performers, and not out of the realm of possibility that any one of those three could wind up in a grade one or even win a grade one sometime later this year or next year or who knows when. So that is a very tough race in my opinion. If you asked me to lean to one, you'd have to put a gun to my head, and it would probably be Flighty Lady coming out of the key race. But interestingly enough, on Thoroughgraph, which I look at and consider, she's not any faster than the other two. So she would have to probably improve a little bit, but I think there's a good chance that she will. And I thought after that first win for Chad, first time in the country, that she was going to be a really good one. I thought she would run better than she did in the Gallarette at Pimlico. But that turned out to be a key race. 3-4 horses come out of that race to win. She might be the next one. So we'll see what happens. That's a very tough competitive race, though, in my opinion. There was a couple of things I noticed on the card, and I'll be, upfront about this right away. I didn't love the card today. I'm definitely more focused on Saturday's card at Saratoga and at Del Mar, and Sunday's card as well. You gotta be patient. You gotta, pick your spots. And it's easy I should say it's easier when you're home, doing it from home like I am, to exercise the discipline that you need to beat this game. Okay. I'm not there. But when you go up there, like a lot of people go up for the weekend, so you're there at the racetrack today, you don't like the card, but you wind up betting anyway. And, sometimes you get lucky and make big scores on those days. I've done it. But sometimes you don't, and you wind up getting hurt on a card you don't like. I've learned that, and years of depending on betting the horses and making a living off, and I don't mean beat the game, I mean making a living off betting the horses, taught me that I was not in a position to be able to do that. I couldn't afford to do that. I had to pick my shots and make it count. So I learned early on in my betting career, discipline was a must for me. I had to pass, and if it meant that maybe I passed a winner, so be it. I didn't want to pass winners, but I had to live to fight another day, and I had to only go after what I really thought, gave me a shot to make the kind of hit that I depended on to make. Yesterday turned out good. I liked one horse to horse win, but the discipline. If I was there today on a card like this, I could be there with a pocket full of money, up there just for a couple of days. And if I don't like the card, I'm just going to watch, take my notes, enjoy the atmosphere of Saratoga, take it all in, and, live to fight another day. Just, have a nice dinner, go back to the hotel, study for the next day, and go in fresh off the layoff, as we say. And I ran well fresh. What could I tell you? That's how I learned to do it. We'll talk about a couple of horses and a couple of spots here, but like I said, not in love with the card today. Going to probably have a changing track, so be a good day to get a good gauge for tomorrow. But couple of things that caught my eye. There's 3 guys on the donut that one breaks my heart to say it, but that have horses in today. And I always look, if you've been watching the show and follow Past the Wire and me over the past a couple of years, I always look at different things and things other people aren't looking at. So I look for people that when they're on the donut are really trying to get their horses into the right spot and win a race. My man Peter Walder having a rough luck meet up at Saratoga. He's got 2 in today. He's got New York Finest in the 3rd. That race we now know is off the turf. I don't know whether that horse is going to stay in or not. Stay tuned for that. But in the 8th race, he's got the 2-horse Likeable. That's a claim off of Todd Pletcher. Peter doesn't claim off Todd often. So there must be something that the owner liked or Peter liked, or the owner liked and Peter didn't poo-poo it. But they took Likeable off Todd Pletcher in a race that I thought came up really, really super tough. I mean, I never go all or almost never go all. I'm against the all button. I always want to eliminate a couple of horses. And yes, I've used the whole field except for 1 or 2 and been burnt more times than I care to remember. But that's just how I play. If I can eliminate, a couple and bet more on the combination, my whole philosophy is when I'm right, make it count. I don't like to use horses I don't like just for the sake of using them. I think that there should always be at least a couple that I can eliminate in a race. But that race, if there was a race to go all, in my opinion, I might consider it. And, when you do that, and especially if you're the player like I am and do that, what happens? We all know it. The favorite wins. But that's just one of those idiosyncrasies of horse racing that it's almost impossible to get around. But that race is potentially an all race, the way I looked at it. That said, if Likeable was drawn outside as opposed to the 2-hole, okay, I would like him a lot more, but I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Peter Walder to get that winner. Brandon Walsh has the 9-horse Critical Threat. He's also on the donut, over at the meet. So, he's trying to get him in the right spots and trying to get that win. And Nick Zito, who a lot of people like to knock Nick Zito, but if you look at the guy's overall resume, he's tough to really knock. Yeah, he doesn't win that much now, doesn't win like he used to now, but the game has changed. He still does things his way. He's an old school guy. He's, had success that you really, really intelligently can't knock. He's won the Derby a couple of times. He's been in all the big spots. And, there was a time when, the Derby came around and him and Wayne Lucas were the guys that everybody wanted to put a microphone in front of because they were the, quote, Derby guys. So, things change. People get older. They lose horses. They lose outfits. People want younger, different type of trainers, different type of high-profile bonds. But Zito usually manages to win a race up there every year. So, he's got one in today that, doesn't look good to me. chase tracker in the 7th, but I always watch these guys on the donut to pop up because they'll, maybe run one in a spot that they might not normally do when they're looking to get that win at the meet. Another thing that caught my eye, now the race is off the turf, so I don't know that the horse will even start. But in the last race, if you look at the 9, Sweet Mission, who on the turf I would have definitely used if I got involved in betting today. But Mark Hennig, who is a Lucas protege and former assistant, as is Todd Pletcher, claimed this horse from Todd Pletcher. I don't ever, first off, Hennig doesn't claim many at all, and I don't ever remember him claiming one. I did not look it up. I don't do that. I mean, if I want to, I will, but normally I just go by my memory. I don't ever remember him claiming a horse from Todd Pletcher. I found that an oddity. So, let's see what happens if the horse even starts, or maybe it's one to watch when the horse gets on the grass. He must have saw something he liked. To go in for the claim on Sweet Mission in the 10th race. But now it's off the turf. So, and sometimes they like the horse on the turf, but the race comes off, they leave the horse in anyway. So you don't really know in those races if there's a go or a not go. The stake, the Skidmore, off the turf. If you remember, there was a race I thought might come off the turf last week or couple of days ago, whatever it was, where Wesley Ward had Averly Jane drawn outside, and the race wound up staying off the turf, and Averly Jane did not run. Well, today it's off the turf. He's done the same thing. She's in there as a main track only. She's drawn inside. I wish she was drawn outside. But I like her. She'll good shot. She'll be the favorite. I don't know who's going to stay in, who's not. She's definitely not going to be bombs away like we like. But that was the one horse I felt looked pretty solid today. But I'll even put a caveat on that. It's 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning over here. I don't know what the track is going to be like, if it's going to be heavy, cuppy, fast, lightning fast, slow by then, and whether she's going to like it. So we won't know that, till during the day. So there's not a lot to do with this card. There just isn't. So at least for me, I would be betting very small, or just fooling around or cruising around and enjoying the sights and scenery and atmosphere and environment of Saratoga. If I was at the track today I'll be doing that from the home base, because I'm not in Saratoga. So discipline, patience, that's the one thing I would say take away from today's show to help you going forward. You absolutely have to have it. If you push, press, look to bet every race, look to bet just because you're there, look to bet just because they're going in the gate, eventually you're going to get drowned out and swallowed up by this sport. It does that on a daily basis to the best of handicappers. And you can be a great handicapper and a good bettor with smart ticket structure and good money management. And if you don't have that discipline, you'll still get swallowed up over time in this game. It's just built that way. Too much to overcome. So that's really all we got. That's the long and short of it for today. Tomorrow we've got the Alabama. I'm going to try to get some Delmar in there. I've got a few opinions over there already. Tomorrow as well. Looking for that next major wager. We've definitely turned the corner, I think, on coming up with some live ones, so that's always positive. Hopefully the second half of the meet runs a lot better than the first half did. The first half, we had some rough runs there, but we certainly erased that, especially with High Oak and how things unfolded that day. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We will reconvene in the AM. We'll try and do a little bit of Saratoga today, Delmar tonight, and see what we can come up with for tomorrow's show. So until then, arrivederci, ciao for now, and reconvene in the AM. Nobody does it better.